I'm Dan Morris, you're watching Bosun Dan Bushcraft, and today we are sandwiched at the back of the garage again because the weather actually is quite good today. Quick weather report there. It's not awful. It started off very wet and rainy this morning, but it's actually gone okay now. But that doesn't matter because I've already planned something else that needs doing. So today we're going to take a look at the blight of any bushcrafter who uses timber-handled tools. A wobbly axe head. Now, my little Freya here has developed a little wobble, although you won't really see it or feel it that much now. It's soaked up a bit of damp air from all the rain we've had lately and swelled just a little bit, but I know very well that as soon as I jam that into a log or something, it will wibble and wobble on that shaft, and eventually it's going to completely ruin where I've carved the eyelet up there. Now, it's commonly held, or you'll hear a lot of people say, that once you start getting a wobble on your axe head with a timber handle, it's pretty much curtains and it's time to make a new axe handle. I'm going to tell you right now, that's nonsense. That is utter nonsense. It doesn't mean that at all. And there are several ways that you can sort the problem out. Now, with this, I've temporarily sorted it out by giving it little oil soaks to let it re-expand, and I've also stuck some nails in there. Which helps just fatten it all up and hold it in place a little bit. But if you're going to do that, don't bury them. Don't put them in stupid deep, because at some point to do this fix, you will need to get those nails back out, and that is where I am right now. I'm going to have to dig out all the little bits of metal and nails that I have shoved in there just to tighten that up before I've gone out and used it, because obviously if I'm going out on a certain day and I need it, I find a little wobble and I'll just be, oh, all right, let's get that done. Just stick something in it to get it working. So I'm going to spend a bit of time digging out these nails and the metal that I've put in the top of this axe, and then I shall get back to you. Some of these are really difficult to get at, so I'm going to drill into the wedge a little bit. Don't be worried about doing a bit of damage to what remains of the wedge, because it's really not going to matter that much, considering what's going to happen later on. So I'm going to drill some of the wedge out around where these nails are, just to get a much nicer grip on them. So that appears to be the last nail. Now you can see I've done a little bit of damage in there. I've worried it a little bit. That isn't going to make any difference whatsoever. That's fine. And this is why, because I've been asked before why I leave the axe shaft protruding out of the top of the axe head. Well, this is exactly why, so I can do this little trick. And especially with an axe like mine, where you've actually got quite a shallow eye. It's not massive great width on it like a lot of the more scout camping axe sorts of things. This is actually quite a narrow one, so it's likely you're going to lose a bit of traction over time. So what I'm going to do now is take just something fine like a hacksaw, and I'm going to try and cut a line through the wedge, basically as neat of a line through the old wedge as I can get. This is where a bit of neatness will help. So I'm just going to start at one end. That's it. I've got that now, a nice starting line, just opening up the width in there in the old wedge, ready for a new wedge, because that's all we're going to do. It's the simplest thing in the world. I don't know why people reckon that's the end of your axe head when you've done that, but I am literally just going to carve a new wedge out of a piece of ash that's been drying in here for quite a long time. It's just a little wider than the actual eyelet of the axe, which is ideal. That's what you want. So really, all I'm going to do now is start shaving this thing down into an actual wedge, which is going to take a while because I have dried this wood and it has gone nice and firm now, so it's going to be quite a challenge. It's going to take me quite a while, especially with this knife that I think I'll give a quick sharpen to. So right, so I have got most of it wedge shaped, and naturally I haven't done all of it with the knife. I did just go and use the axe to get it to this sort of a wedge, nice and thin, and I'm going to use the knife now to just finish off the rough edges at the bottom, make it smooth but also make it nice and pointy, nice and wedge like. I don't want to go too wafer thin on the edge because I don't want to remove all the strength in it. So there we go. Just like that. Now then, I'm not going to need this whole great lump of wood. So we'll saw it off. Hard to do on this bench, I've got nothing to hold it. Right. So then, we'll just check that and see what it looks like. Oh yes, that'll do the job nicely. So just before I beat the wedge into the axe, I'm going to give it just a couple of slaps on the bottom of the shaft, just to make sure that the head is truly in the situation where I want it, right snug down. And it seems to be, because like I say, it's not as wobbly as it was, but that's just because it's got damp in the garage again and expanded. So I'm just going to take the wedge, put it into that line that we saw earlier, that we cut, and I'm just going to mark it a little bit as well, just to show when it would be close to the bottom of where the axe head is, because I don't want to bail it too far down and end up splitting the actual axe shaft. So just a line. You can see mine's got a slight wedge to the end of it. That side's a little longer. That is intentional. That'll make it bite in a little bit easier when I do this, because I've got to go in the middle of that line where we put earlier with the saw. And then all I'm going to do is start tapping it home. Now, once we've got it started, I can put myself in a better position and get a little more brutality on it. Don't be tempted to put the bottom of your axe handle on something hard like the concrete floor and try and beat it in. Without the lack of free movement using your hand to just hold it, you will just split all the bottom of the axe shaft. So just free hold it and take your time, let it sink down. Lovely. Now you can see we are a little way off the marker line. So I'm going to give it just a little more. It doesn't have to go down to that line. Really, that line's just there to make sure you don't overdo it. So I'm just going to give it a little more. And that'll do. That's in. So now all I need to do is slice this off here, because we don't need all of that wedge poking out. I'm just going to run the saw through that. Now that we've got that, I'll just pop that away. now that we've got that, I'm just going to use the knife, just neaten it up. Just take your knife and just neaten it up across the top there. As we do, look at that, lovely. Nice and smooth. And there you can see the actual original wedge that we didn't take out, we left in, has been crushed almost completely flat by the new one. So that's given it plenty of bite, plenty of friction. That now just wants a bit of birch oil rubbing over it, and that'll just keep the water out of it. And there we have a re-solidified axe head. Now, over a couple of days, when the wood starts to really press, or over where the wedge is there, it's going to really push this wood out. You can see, probably shows on the camera that it's quite just flared a little bit. You'll actually notice that there'll be oil and stuff leaking out of the wood where it's under that much compression. So it shapes itself to that axe head and bites itself onto the shapework of it and makes it even more solid. Basically what I'm saying there is, when you have reshafted or re-wedged a timber handled axe, best to let them sit for a few days to bed everything in before you start wailing it about. And that is all there is to it. In truth, that is all there is to it. So if your axe head is just wobbly, yes, soaking them in oil works great, but eventually you might have to re-wedge it. The sooner you do that, the less likely it is that you're going to have to make an entirely new shaft for it, because obviously the longer you leave it jiggling and dancing, the more damage it's going to do to the timber that's inside of the eyelet in there, and it'll be rubbing that to bits and scratching it up, and it's going to slowly stop fitting, and you will end up then having to make one. So as soon as you spot this problem is when you really want to fix it. It's one of those things where you don't really want to be using it if the head is wobbling around everywhere. So as we've got the head sorted out now, I'm going to dust this table off, and because she had a wobble, and because I do have a twin sister for it, an identical twin to little Freya here, I have been using her twin. So this one hasn't done anything for quite a while, and because of which she is looking quite grubby. A couple of little rust spots on it, and I cannot have that. So just while we're doing this, I'm going to give it a jolly good old auto soling and get these rusty little spots off it. You have it polished, sharpened and re-wedged, so that won't be wobbling on me again, and ready for the next adventure. It really is that simple. So that's it from me today, guys. Until the next one, as always, get yourselves out there, get having fun, get repairing your wooden handled tools, be safe, and I will catch you on the next one.